Hello beautiful people. I went on a retreat which is called Vipassana, and that's a 10-day silent meditation. So the retreat itself is free, doesn't cost any money, and then at the end of the 10 days, if you feel like you've gained a lot from it, then you can make a donation. It's accessible to anybody regardless of how much money you've got. So the 10-day silent meditation, you don't have the ability to communicate with anybody, you can't read anything, there's no TVs, there's just literally a bed and the clothes that you bring. You can't have a writing pad, you can't write anything down, you can't read anything, so you're literally locked in with yourself, with your mind for 10 days, and that is, a pretty intense experience, to say the least. So I wanted to give an overview of what Vipassana is, what you do over the 10 days, and then I'll just go through my experience and then how, what I got out of it and what I think other people can potentially benefit from it. So Vipassana is 10-day silent meditation. As I said, you can't talk to anybody. On average, you're doing around about 10 hours of meditation a day. Of which 3 of those hours you aren't able to move. You're not allowed to move any part of your body, so that you can work through the sensations that you're experiencing in your body. You start off with the first 3 days we do Anapana meditation, which is basically meditation where we concentrate on the breath, and then that trains your mind to be observant of what's going on within a small section of your body. And then that on the 4th day expands into Vipassana meditation, which is observing sensations that you're experiencing within the body. And then as you go on through the course, you expand out into the rest of the body and start feeling those sensations. For example, when you've been meditating for an hour and you haven't been able to move, you can feel the intense pain that you may be experiencing and can then observe the sensation, then have no craving or aversion to it. So you don't want it to go away, you just experience it and then let it go. And then what you find is that sensations that appear in the body, they rise and disappear. So it's a real reflection of what we experience in life. And one of the key truths is that everything is in a state of change. So if you're experiencing something now that is terrible, then a couple of days from now that may have changed, or a week or a month or whatever. There's always change occurring. So and that we experience that within the body, so we get experience of that firsthand within the Vipassana meditation. And so we do, on average, we do about 10 hours meditation a day, and we have so it gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You start and have breakfast after 2 hours of meditation, then you have lunch around 11 o'clock, and that is the last kind of large meal, and then at 5 o'clock you get a piece of fruit and some tea. So I thought the food was going to be an issue, and I actually ate quite a lot during the lunch. I would just overdose on the food, but I found that we didn't really need it, and actually eating less was far more productive, because it meant that you could go a lot deeper when meditating later on in the day. So something that I found really interesting was that I thought that the silence was going to be the biggest issue that I was going to encounter. I thought 10 days, because I like to engage with people, I like to communicate with people. I think I'm quite extroverted, so I get a lot of energy from being around other people. So when you go and spend 10 days and you can't communicate with anybody, I thought that was going to be very intense. I found it so peaceful, actually. I found it really wonderful. The funniest thing is that the worst thing that I found with regards to the not being able to communicate with anybody was that when people hold the door open for you and you're not allowed to look at them, you're not allowed to interact with them in any way. So every time I wanted to say thank you, I couldn't exchange those pleasantries, so I just had to put my head down, and it felt that was horrible for me. Of many of the things, that was one of the worst things, not being able to thank people when they did nice things. That's quite weird. I think one of the key things that I got around doing this Vipassana meditation wasn't so much the daily meditation, the practice itself, and how that impacted me on a consciousness level. But for me, it was more so about self-discipline. It was about, nobody's going to tell you to get up and meditate there. So if you don't meditate, if you don't get up and do it yourself, then you're only cheating yourself. And so for me, that was a massive reflection to be able to see, it's all on me, and it's all on us to create whatever we want in the world. And you don't have somebody telling you to get up and go and take action in the world. It has to come from within. And so yeah, that's one of the biggest breakthroughs for me. And then one of the other things that I found really interesting was that when you're doing 10 hours a day of meditation, and your body is like screaming, and you're present in this meditative pose, like so present, and you look at, and like if there's a moment when you look around the room, you can see everybody in like this Buddha pose. But me, for moments within a couple of days, around about day 6 or day 7, there's this massive part of me inside, like just so much anger, like that I didn't even know was there. But just being able to sit and be present, and to not have that, like, to not engage with it, to just have no craving or aversion to that feeling of anger, that feeling that I have within me. It's really interesting to just let it go, not engage with it. So yeah, that was a really interesting insight. But what I would say is, for me, those 10 days are pretty much the hardest 10 days I've ever lived in my entire life. Even some of the worst experiences of my life were not as hard as moments in those 10 days. And that's not that's not to put anybody off at all. It just really helps you see how far you can go, how much you can achieve, what you can do when you can sort of be there and push through those barriers one after the other. One thing that I would say is that for me, I saw such a massive transformation. So many people within Vipassana, even though I didn't interact with a lot of people at the beginning, you could see how a lot of people had gone in there and were in suffering. There was a lot of people that had a lot of anger, a lot of sadness deep within. And when because if you can't interact with anybody or look at anybody for the 10 days, when you come out the other side and you see the same people, and it's like they've been reborn. It's like they've released so much stuff. And so for that, like, just seeing that transformation in other people, for me, just shows how profound it is as a technique for helping us improve ourselves and the world as a whole. Personally, for like 10 days, with 10 hours a day of meditation, and it's the hardest and most intense meditation I've ever done, I personally didn't get the level of soul growth that I've experienced through other techniques in the past. I'm definitely going to do Vipassana in the future, but it's not my go-to source for evolving my consciousness and expanding my awareness. Although saying that, the techniques that exist within it have really sort of upgraded my meditation practice since. So yeah, there's a lot of positivities within that. On about like day 9 or day 10, I really tapped into this like deep rage within me that I didn't know was there, and I didn't really have enough time to sort of work through that, I think. And so when it came out into day 10 and we were doing the love and kindness meditation, which we end on, that I still had a lot of that anger sort of like brewing up. So I just wanted to get out of that. I just wanted to get out of the center. But everybody's like super happy, super joyous, like bouncing around, and I'm like, well, I feel a little bit worse than I did when I went in. But just looking at the transformations of everyone else, that was what really, made me see how positive it is for other people. And that was why I made a donation, actually, because I donated, just to be in thanks for that opportunity for me to experience that, and then for the change that it had made to so many other people's lives. I think the reason why I didn't get as much out of Vipassana as I would have liked to is because I originally booked it just after my divorce. I was going to go then, and then I delayed it for a year, and by the time another year had gone by, I had worked through most of that stuff, and I had worked through a lot of my other major sort of demons in my life. I've still got many, as we all do, but there were the main key things that were sort of holding on to me and really having a massive impact in my life, I'd sort of made peace with. So there wasn't any major breakthroughs, there wasn't any breakdowns or anything like that for me within those 10 days. It was some deep insights, and there was some real gratefulness for life and what I have. Yeah, so I hope that gives you kind of a bit of an insight into Vipassana, what it is, what the technique is, what you might expect over the 10 days, and then sort of a couple of my insights, some of the things that I experienced that I found quite profound, and I got a lot of that I gained a lot from. So I'm hoping, I think if it feels right for you, then have a research into it. Have a look on the websites, just search for Vipassana within your country. Pretty much any major country has a centre, from what I can see. Have a look into it, do a bit of research. I mean, if you give yourself those 10 days, you're only going to come out with a deeper knowledge of self, a deeper knowledge of who you are, what exists within you, and sort of how to grow and develop from beyond that. So yeah, have a look, see if it feels right. Feel into it, feel if it feels right for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please give it a like. That helps a lot, and subscribe for future videos, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos. So yeah, see you soon. Bye.